Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Maximus the Fourth. Whereas today we're going to be taking a nice, honest look at the Nintendo DS. In today's video, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through the history of the Nintendo DS, and then once we're done with that, I'm going to walk you guys through the functions of this device, and then I will do just a little bit of a demo to show you how this thing works when you're playing an actual game. So let's get into the history, shall we? The Nintendo DS is a foldable handheld game console produced by Nintendo, which was released globally across 2004 and 2005. The DS, an initialism for developer system or dual screen, introduced distinctive new features to handheld games. Two LCD screens working in tandem, the bottom of one a touchscreen, a built-in microphone, and support for wireless connectivity. Both screens are encompassed within a clamshell design similar to the Game Boy Advance SP. The Nintendo DS also features the ability for multiple DS consoles to directly interact with each other over using Wi-Fi within a short range without the need to connect to an existing wireless network. Alternatively, they could interact using the now defunct Nintendo Wi-Fi connection service. Its main competitor was Sony's PlayStation Portable during the seventh generation of video game consoles. Prior to its release, the Nintendo DS was marketed as an experimental third pillar in Nintendo's console lineup, meant to complement the Game Boy Advance family and GameCube. However, backward compatibility with Game Boy Advance titles are strong sales ultimately established as the successor to the Game Boy series. On March 2nd of 2006, Nintendo launched the Game Boy DSi XL, which I do have also to review, just not in this video. We'll get to that one. Which was a larger version of the DSi. All Nintendo DS models combined have sold 154.02 million units. That's massive. I believe that if my memory serves me well, when I was doing a review on the Game Boy original, the Nintendo Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, those two had a combined total grand sales of about 81 million. That's almost double that the Nintendo DS was putting out. That's absolutely freaking outrageous. And with it producing 154 million units worth of sales, this makes it the best Nintendo system, the best selling handheld game console, and the second best selling video game console of all time overall, which it was behind Sony's PlayStation 2, in which that one was at number 1. The Nintendo DS succeeded by the Nintendo 3DS in February of 2011. The development of the Nintendo DS began around mid-2002. Following an original idea from former Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi about a dual-screen console, on November 13th of 2003, Nintendo announced that it would be releasing a new game product in 2004. The company did not prove many details, but stated it would not succeed the Game Boy Advance or GameCube. On January 20th of 2004, the console was announced under the codename Nintendo DS. Nintendo released only a few details at the time, saying that the console would have two separate 3-inch TFT LCD display panels, separate processors, and up to 1 gigabyte, which is 128 megabytes, of semiconductor memory. I think that's about all we need to know. It just kind of goes on. So the introductory price for one of these things was $149.99, which would be equivalent to $232.38 as of 2022, which is close to today. All the media that this Nintendo DS can hold is the Nintendo DS game card, the Game Boy Advance games, which right here, and it also holds the game pack, or the Game Boy Advance game pack. The best-selling game for the Nintendo DS is new Super Mario Bros, which sold 30.80 million copies as of September 30th, 2016. Now that I've given you guys the history of the Nintendo DS, let's take a look at all the functions and how this thing works, and then I'll give you guys just a little bit of a demo on the game Super Mario DS. Here we go. Okay, so taking a look here. This is the outside. The sides, this thing, it just opens up like this. It's a flip. Now, let's take a look at this first. Boom, you have your volume dial, which is right here. And then right here, you have your headphones port that you can plug in to use headphones if you want. You have two screens. These are your speakers, one on each side right here. Above, you have your L and R triggers. And the way that this game, the Nintendo DS games, pop in is they're a little bit different. On these ones, you just slide them in, just like so, and they click right in. It's kind of like the mechanism like using a pen. It just clicks in and clicks out. Boom. So you just push it, boom, and it clicks out. You push it in, boom, clicks in. Another really nice feature about the Nintendo DS is, boom, on the other side, it was still able to play Game Boy Advance games, so that's really good. Nintendo DS. And then right here looks like is the cap you can unscrew it, and I think that's where the battery goes, which is a chargeable battery. And oh, a huge function was called a stylus. I personally remember, I don't know the exact year, but around 2003, at least when I was in 6th grade, they had these things which were called Palm Pilots, which were really big. They were basically like these touchscreen devices that were coming out that you could play games on and just play with, that really acted like a computer. And so they brought back the stylus they brought the stylus to the Nintendo DS, which was kind of a big deal because, yeah, to have a stylus now that you could use for a Game Boy, and the fact that this was even a touchscreen was pretty cool. I'll go ahead and just slide this stylus back in here. And right here you have your charger port. And it's very simple, just like the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance SP. You just have your charger that you stick right in here. Just like that. Boom. And then you have your plug that you just plug into any wall outlet and you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, last but not least, let's turn this baby on. So you got your power button right here. You have your traditional cross that you can walk in any direction with your character that you're using. You have your start and select button, which start usually pauses the game. Select kind of pauses the game as well because it just usually takes you to a map, which is pretty much the same thing as pausing. You have your A, B, Y, and X buttons, which looks like the same exact 4 button patterns that the PlayStation 2 had. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so let's turn this thing on power. And then we can take the stylus out and just use this. Boom. Now, it's a little bit confusing because you have to... One second. So it was a little confusing for me to figure this out because you have to have a username before you can use this. Otherwise, this thing is just going to act like a really stubborn computer and it won't work. But on the top screen, it is a non-touch right here. This just has the time and the calendar, which is pretty cool. And then down here, it just boom, DS download play, Picto chat. So in order to get to the game that I want to demo for you guys, we're just going to click Super Mario 64 DS. Boom. Okay, just says adventure. Boom, touch to start. File C. Okay, so now it's a little different. On the live play, you have your map that's on the bottom, so that's not really the one you're even going to touch. Or you still can touch the screen, but your top screen is going to be your action screen where you control. This game is kind of similar to Super Mario 64, but in this one, it looks like in the very beginning of it, you're controlling Yoshi. So you basically just hold down Y in order to sprint, and then just like Mario, you can jump 3 times, boom, 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 and then he does a flip. But Yoshi doesn't punch. He does stick out his tongue if you press A. And then boom, your L trigger is going to switch the camera a little bit for you, I guess. And then the R button is going to make Yoshi crouch over, cover his head. But so the controls are quite a bit clunkier than the Nintendo 64. It's not near as smooth from what I'm gathering. But another kind of a different cool feature is if you press the jump button, which is B, boom, Yoshi will hover just for a little bit. See that? So that's pretty much it. Okay, so before we're done here, I want to show you guys the function, how you can play the Game Boy Advance games. So, boom, just turn on your device like you normally would by pressing the power button, and then hit the warning. Okay, now you have the option right here. So, you had to hit Super Mario 64 DS Nintendo in order to play the DS game, but down here, it says Start GBA game, so that's how you play the Game Boy Advance. Boom, hit that. And now it looks like it's switching screens as far as the introduction goes, just like it'd be the normal Game Boy. The Nintendo DS game showed the introductory screen on the bottom one, so that's a little bit different and cool. So just hit yes to continue. Boom. So it looks like when you're playing the Game Boy Advance games on this device, the only screen that even lights up is the top one. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty much all you need to know. Sorry this video took me a little bit longer, but there was a lot more to cover on all the functions, especially with being able to play the Game Boy Advance games on this thing as well as the Game Boy DS, the Nintendo DS games. So, alright guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you share this video with a buddy. if you really liked it. And don't forget to leave a comment down below to help boost the algorithm. And if you did like this video, make sure you check out my review where I take a look at Pepsi Cola Hot Chocolate. It's a very rare soda, and the video did do well when it first came out, and I dropped it, but it didn't quite hit the 1,000 view threshold. So if you guys want to help out your boy Maximus the Fourth, I will leave the link of Pepsi Cola Hot Chocolate official review down, the link down in the description of this video, and make sure you check that out. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.